Tortelli lucchesi tradizionali, vedi?
The typical Italian combination of flavors, no?
Ciao, I'm Enzo.
I'm Celia,
This is Piazza Talk, our channel about our life in Lucca.
and in the Tuscan hills.
Please hit the subscribe button. Grazie. Grandi extraordinary antipasto. Well, we are here, Celia.
We're here because it's your birthday.
My birthday.
So we're a little further away from home, up in the hills near Baga, on the other side of the river,
Yes.
not far from Castelnuovo, the Garfagnana. We're going up to Garfagnana to go to a conference on biodiversity farming. But as it's a day of celebration, we thought we'd stop off for lunch anyway. And we haven't been to this restaurant for 10 years, maybe?
Yes, over 10 years.
So we thought we'd come up here again. And we'll show you a bit of the road, maybe going back down, if we're not too happy. We of course won't be drinking very much, just a small glass of red wine between us, so we're safe to drive.
Okay.
But here we have antipasto misto, so there's prosciutto, pancetta, salami. I should make it clear, this isn't a pranzo di lavoro.
This is a la
an
carte.
only restaurant a la carte lunch. So
And just what I wanted, this is actually one portion of the pasta. We decided to share one in two.
So there's faro, marinated vegetables,
Yes, polenta with mushroom,
and mixed crostini with, of course,
affettati misti, prosciutto, salami and pancetta.
which is impossible not to have in this part of the world.
Okay, let's start. I'm hungry now.
Okay.
Okay, this is the first course, and we have tortelli, which is my favorite thing in Lucca, and ravioli with artichokes, pancetta, and
Carciofi saltata with pancetta and pecorino.
pancetta and pecorino. And this tortelli lucchesi tradizionali with everything kinds of meat, cheese, breadcrumbs, and chard. Okay, I think we should start before they get cold.
I agree.
Buon appetito again.
They're very big to Teddy.
And this is my second course, which is dry cod. I love it, baccalà. And you having mixed salad.
It was very filling. The
Yes, I'm quite full as well, actually. Okay, let's get on with it. And we share the pudding because I think we're pretty full. And we plan to have an ice cream later, so keep some space.
There is no space.
Do you have any space left?
No.
Do you have space for your coffee?
Always.
Always, okay.
If I wasn't driving, I'd have a digestivo as well, but I'm driving, so...
But you can have a digestive when you go back home tonight before going to bed. Where are we?
We're on the border, and that's going across the bridge that you can't really see, but there's a very pretty, I don't know,
Custom
is it
house?
medieval bridge? Yes.
It's kind of a Renaissance, I think. It's kind
Is
of
it? Bit
anyway.
later.
Let's go and find out.
And it's the border between Parma and
Lucca.
Lucca. And apparently the local people helped those from Parma, even though now we're in Lucazia.
Yeah.
So, and it's a beautiful gorge.
Look at that.
And this bridge is very, very well photographed, but at the moment there is too much greenery, so you can't see it from the postcard picture point of view.
and this is the lake. The river is called the Turrite, and that's a dam. The level is pretty low now, and we've been told they're doing some works, but there's also a shortage of water. So. And this water is called the acqua buona, the good water.
And it's one of the joys that you can find these fountains. And on this day where it's 34 degrees in the shade?
Yes.
I'm about to flush myself in water. So.
I didn't realize that Japan was around the corner. Eventually we made it. We got to the conference.
Vabbè, io sono allevatore e allevo la pecora garfagnana bianca.
Hello, Brigida Marovelli, and this is the ethno-anthropologist.
A food anthropologist.
Food anthropologist.
Yeah.
Food, yes.
Yeah.
And we got to discuss these wonderful things in our plate, and she will tell us what we're going to have now.
Yeah.
So let's start.
So we start from the polenta. So it's a polenta made with a local corn flour.
A local being Garfagnana.
A local in Garfagnana,
And
yes.
it's called?
And it's called Orecchiella.
Orecchiella.
Orecchiella is an area high up the mountains. So, and this seed is registered as a local seed by the food community here in Garfagnana, in Tuscany. And it's served with a kind of, it's made like a ragu, but instead of having meat, it has beans. And this is because in the past we didn't have, the availability of meat that we have today. So this was a lean protein that was used by the farmers and the people in the villages around here. And it would be like usually polenta was served either with beans or also with cheese, with the local cheeses, and with meat it would be only on Sunday. So on Sunday people would kill the rabbit or the chicken or have some wild boar, but it was only on festivities. So what I wanted to show with this dish is that we can still look back at this tradition and learn something about reducing the consumption of meat and eating more lean and vegetarian proteins.
I mean, it's a very modern dish.
Yeah, it is a very modern
It's
dish.
Perfect
Yes.
for a vegan world.
Yeah,
Sustainable and
it's sustainable, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's cheap.
And it's cheap.
It is
Cheap, healthy, vegan and good for you. What
Yeah.
more could you want?
Yes.
Full of protein.
Yeah. And we have another vegan dish here, which is spelt, that is very commonly grown in this area. This type of spelt is quite soft, so you don't need to soak it in advance. But you cook it only boiling it 10-15 minutes. So it's a big difference from the kind of spelt that sometimes you buy in organic shops and you need to soak them for 12 hours, so it takes a long time. This one doesn't need soaking, and in this case it's just with olive oil, tomatoes, because we are in Italy and it's summer, it's a very dry season and hot, so we have good tomatoes and basil.
And of course we call this spelled farro here.
Farro,
But
yes.
this farro is actually a name that's become common in, at least in England, in America. They call it farro now.
Yeah,
The
I think.
specific modern
yeah.
spelt.
Yes,
quite
and I think
interesting.
spelt flour is used also for sourdough, mixing
Yeah.
it with different flours, and it's becoming quite popular.
And perhaps we should say that the great thing about these both these types of grain is that they grow on very poor soil.
Yes, they do, and they don't require too much water as well. I mean, I think corn a little bit more, but in here I don't want to be wrong because it's not my field. But this is, I mean, if you look at it, maybe you think it's like the typical Italian combination of flavors, no? The tomato and the basil, and
Yes,
yeah.
it's wonderful and very
Yeah.
appetizing.
And I mean, this it has a real flavour and a bite to it.
Yes.
I haven't tried, but I'm glad you say that because I cooked it.
Then it'll be extra delicious.
And the third thing here we have this special bread,
Yeah, so
Marocca.
yeah, this is a bread that tells the history of poverty of this area.
Sorry, what was its name again?
It's Marocca.
Marocca.
So Marocca is a bread made with a percentage of chestnut flour. So the chestnuts are dried and then made into a flour in this area, and they make this special bread mixing wheat flour and chestnut flour. So it has a kind of sweet aftertaste, and it pairs really well with something a little bit sour, like a goat cheese. In this case, it's a goat roviola, so it's a very fresh goat cheese made by two very young farmers. They just started, so in a way tonight they want us to try the product and say if we like it, and I think it was a big success. Have you tried it?
Not yet, so that's good. And then we have honey, this is chestnut honey.
Yeah, it's chestnut honey. It's sweet, but not as sweet as other honey type of honey.
It's got a
And
slightly bitter
it's got
taste.
quite a
it is-
strong taste.
Yeah, it has quite a strong taste.
And I think it's especially good with cheese.
yeah, I like
think-
it too. Yeah.
I think
Especially
it-
with sharp cheese.
It works really, really
Yeah.
well.
And then we have toasted pine nuts on top.
And of course, pine nuts now are a prime ingredient. So I think somebody should try this new cheese and give their
Yeah,
opinion.
I go for it. For me, it's very good.
Okay, I try it myself. It's good, the combination of three different things.
Yeah, it's very complex.
I think it's my eyes because I can consider them.
It's a very complex combination of taste because you feel the chestnut and then you feel the chestnut honey as well. And I think last I feel the cheese and the pine nuts.
Yes, actually, this is a secret of taste.
Yes.
It's quite interesting.
Make
very
sure you keep
interesting.
some for me. That's
Yes,
Yeah, you should try to.
at the bite. So.
I think that we should say that this might look like a simple platter, but actually it's a very complex and very special platter because not only because Brigida cooked it, but also the ingredients that you've used.
And there's so much work behind all these things. Yeah. It's simple dish, but
Absolutely,
there's
so much work.
and so much intense energy that's been put in
Yeah.
this work.
I think also I basically started from the dry beans, so it takes a long time to soak them. I mean, you have to wait. It's a slow cooking. But then because tonight we were talking about the past of this area, the past of Garfagnana, and I actually used the clay pot. Like it was my grandmother's clay pot to cook the beans, and I always think
How
that
do you call it in your local language? Pigna,
coccio.
Coccio.
I couldn't think about that. Yeah, so I cooked it there, and it took a very long time. And of course, it was not really appropriate in this season with this heat. Usually, it's something that you do in the winter time because it warms your house and you have this smell around the house. And it was, I think, cooking these three dishes was celebrating the producers and the people that donated the food because it was tonight we celebrated the landscape, the farming landscape of this area, which is a particularly difficult one for the type of territory that we live in, and so I was thinking how to remember the poverty in a way that was also looking at the future, because there is a lot of innovation. There are young people producing goat cheese that is becoming popular, but then there is my grandmother as well, with the beans and the clay pot, and Yeah, so there is a lot of memory, but a lot of hope for the future as well.
And I think that's what your work's about,
Yeah.
particularly, and it's the beauty of this area. And Brigida has studied in England. She's worked in England. She's worked in Sicily. She's been all over the place.
And she was also in Ireland.
Yes, I was at Trinity College.
But has now come back to her own land and is celebrating and passing on the history, but also the future for this part, and has found a lot of young producers who are interested in agriculture and in this life, and in this land that I, as a foreigner, have fallen in love with.
Yeah, and it's a very emotional process, so it's more difficult to have a distance because it's my own heritage, it's my own land, but at the same time, if I can slightly contribute to a future that is more sustainable in producing food that is good for people, good for the soil, good for the community, then I will be happy.
And we're all very happy because we get to eat it.
Buon appetito.
Buon appetito. And thank you so much for walking us through this amazing aperitivo.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Siamo i custodi di una razza che è in via di estinzione, un po' come la garfagnina bianca. È la pecora che insomma identifica un po' la lunigiana insieme alla massese, ma è parente della garfagnina, siamo un po' tutti parenti in questa cosa qua.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe, leave a like and activate the notification bell. You just need a Google account and it's free. It helps our community enormously. Thank you very much.